You're listening to the IFF TV podcast.
Hello, welcome to Irish Football Fan TV. This is the player ratings from Andorra 1, Republic of Ireland 4. Ethan, we obviously just finishing the actual watch along there about 5 minutes ago, and I suppose looking at it, it wasn't a convincing game of football. When they scored their goal, we started to get our act together. Troy Parrott decided to step up to the plate, obviously, but just going through the player ratings, I suppose we'll start off with Gavin Bazunu in goal. I suppose the rating I would give Gavin, I'd give him a 6. I mean, he didn't have a whole lot to do. He was good on the ball when needed. You know, he was another outlet for us if we wanted to start in attacks and stuff like that. And you know, his kickouts and stuff like that, his distribution was quite good. So I'd give him a 6. Just purely, he wasn't that busy.
Yeah, I think the same. He didn't do anything wrong. You know, kind of like you said, got out a couple of tight corners and stuff with his ball playing, but don't think he was really at fault for the goal and didn't really have much else to do, in fairness, so there's not really much else you can say.
Yeah, I think that's a fairly easy one. I suppose we'll move it on to left back, James McLean. I think McLean started doing better in the second half. I think more so he was probably better defensively, but I think he had a part to play in the goal for Jason Knight. Obviously gives the ball to Daryl Horgan, who then crosses it in. But I thought defensively he was solid enough, and then obviously there was moments. I think it was we won the throw as well for one. Yeah, so I'm going to give McLean a 7. I think he had a decent game tonight and something to build on from there, considering he's playing left back as well. It's not his natural position. So 7 for me for McLean. What's yours?
Yeah, I think I'd agree. I think a 7. I think that he's probably did his best game going forward. He grew into it in the second half, like you said, and maybe in the first half maybe gave the ball away a couple of times. But at the same time, he was the outlet so often for us to try and do anything. You know, he was always the one up and down that left wing, given an option, looking to go at them, put a ball in. And then whenever he had the ball, he wasn't getting the same kind of people making the runs for him. So I think he gave us a great bit of width and an option, and I think that's shouldn't be overlooked. So I think 7's fair.
Yeah, I think we might as well just go through the centre backs. As a pairing, I suppose.
Yeah.
I'm gonna give them a 6. They didn't do anything wrong, and 6 is not a bad thing. I think if you're kind of going higher or lower, maybe you're giving them a goal or something like that. But they just didn't seem busy at all. Like, that's not their fault, as I say. They were good on the ball. They done their jobs quite defensively, I thought. I haven't seen the goal back, the Andorran goal back, to see it. Maybe they were at fault for that, but I don't think they were. So I'm going to give them a 6. Again, Darragh O'Shea, another good composed performance, and John Egan in there. Look, if you're giving your defenders anything higher or lower, something goes wrong or right in the game, kind of from their point of view, as in maybe they score a goal or maybe they have an assist or something like that. But or maybe they have a shocker, you go lower.
Yeah, or if they're higher, if they have like a real good game because they're having to defend loads and doing a good job. Whereas, like you said, they weren't very busy tonight. I think I'd not agree all the time. I think a 6 is fair. I didn't see the goal back either, the Andorran goal. I mean, I don't know if they were at fault, definitely, but it's a bit kind of scary to see Andorra get a free header from a free kick in your box. That's something that might be kind of come under their remit. But again, they didn't give them any other chances. There's really not much more to say on them, I think.
Yeah, so I think 6 each is fair. Matt Doherty then at right back. He didn't do a whole lot in the game. There was moments where he was trying to get on the ball. Now, look, again, I don't know how hard it is to play in this Ireland team and see if you can try and make something happen from fullback. We seen with James McLean, there was just moments maybe that he got in and looked better at times as a fullback than maybe Matt Doherty did on the other side. But again, Matt Doherty played his part in I think it was the last goal when he gives the ball to Jason Knight as well. So I suppose if you're giving McLean a 7, you kind of have to give Matt Doherty a 7 in some senses as well. But that's just my thoughts. You could tell me differently if you like.
Yeah, I'm torn between 7 and a 6.5. I think that although they probably did similar things, I feel like I noticed McLean in the game more. I think McLean was always out there, and that maybe is more of a Matt Doherty issue we've talked about before, that he doesn't really, and he's a fullback, he shouldn't be, our guiding light, but he doesn't really kind of make his impact on the games as much as maybe someone of his quality can and should. So I think that's maybe a knock on him. Again, against Andorra, he didn't maybe show up as much as McLean, but in that first half, he made a couple of runs inside and was maybe unlucky to kind of not get a shot away or set someone up. So I think a 7's probably fair. That he was one of the few, when things weren't going well for us, gave us that kind of driving force going forward.
Yeah, I suppose moving into midfield then. So we're going to settle on 7 for Matt Doherty.
Yeah, go on. You know what? I'll say 6.5 because I don't want to say the same as you every time. But 6.5, 7, I think is a bit of a much of a muchness.
Yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. It's just yeah. Okay, we'll go with that. Then in midfield we've obviously got Josh Cullen and Conor Howard, but we'll just start with Josh. I mentioned him when we were watching him on the watch along. I just thought he did his job quite well in terms of just getting on the ball, spraying it. He wasn't fancy or anything like that. He did just look to get on the ball and just give it. So he was coming deep, getting the ball and just giving it and going. I thought he had a solid performance again. We're playing Andorra here, so we don't only go overboard on praise and stuff like that. We were 1-0 down in the second half as well. We got to remember that too. I'm gonna give Cullen I'm going to give him a 6.5. And again, it was a very average kind of game, but I liked what I saw from him, and he was just decent and didn't do anything silly. So 6.5 for me for Josh Cullen. I don't know, you might go higher or lower.
No, I think I probably agree. I think he started off as a 6, we'll say, and then he played his part, like you said, kind of kept the ball moving. There were a few times in the second half Andorra tried to press on and do a press, and he a few times kind of got the ball and was able to get out of trouble and move it on and keep it going. So that was quite impressive. Obviously, Andorra, so I'm not going to get too carried away, but I think a 6.5 is fair. He didn't play bad.
Yeah, so I just kind of came back to my head that McLean actually had played his part. I think two of the goals, because the Horgan cross for Parrott, and then the Horgan one I think he was involved in as well to get it over to Knight. So So yeah, he justifiably gets a better rating than Matt Doherty. So we'll bring Matt Doherty back down to 6.5 and agree on that.
Yeah.
So, Conor Howard, I'm going to give him a 7 because of the assist. Again, similar to Cullen, but he got an assist. I thought he done well. I thought there was a little bit of maybe a lack of creativity and energy in the middle, but I don't think that's his fault. I don't think that's really his game. Obviously for Swansea, he plays higher up and gets shots off more often, but he's not like a Jamie McGrath type player where he's kind of trying to make things happen and play between the lines. He's a central midfielder, and I thought he was solid again. But I'm going to give him a 7. He got the assist, and at that point when we needed that extra goal just to take the pressure off us, he obviously provided the assist for Troy Parrott's second goal.
Yeah, I'm torn between a 6.5 and a 7. I know he got the assist, but I think for a lot of the game, his set piece delivery was actually very poor. There were a few corners and that didn't go past the first man, and he's such a good dead ball. I think that was a bit kind of disappointing that's somewhere we could have really hurt them. But I look, if he got an assist at the end of the day, I don't think it's too harsh then to kind of draw him down, and assists lead to goals, obviously. So I think a 7 is probably fairer.
Okay, so you're going with 7.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I don't know what way you want to do it. It has Jason Knight as the midfielder. He was kind of more of a right winger, I thought, and Troy was the number 10. So I'm going to bring it straight to Troy, right, as the number 10, and I'm going to give him a 9. I thought when we needed someone to step up and deliver, he obviously got that first goal, which was brilliant, and we've been dying to see something like that from him for a long time. And just when we needed someone to run at them and cause problems, he got the first goal, and then after that, once he got that goal, he could just see the pressure just drop from his shoulders, and he just started expressing himself and doing well and starting trying to make things happen. He obviously got the second goal then. He probably should have an assist as well for the Curtis chance, which will obviously come to him in a couple of minutes. But so I think for me, I'm going to give Troy a 9. People might think that's excessive, but if you get 2 goals, try and turn a game on its head when we probably looked at facing the worst defeat of our history, had that stayed at 1-0. For him to step up and show the other players, this is what we need to do. This is how we score the goals, and I'm gonna make sure we win this game. So 9 for me for Troy.
Yeah, no, again, I think I agree. I think whenever Andorra scored on the watch along, I said, this is when the players, the management need to kind of step up and show that they know what to do here and show what they're about. And Troy Parrott did that. He was the first one, and for one of the youngest lads in the team to kind of say, "No, look, I'm not letting this happen." And it was a great first goal. Ran at them, put it away, and then even the second goal, the keeper probably could have done better for Andorra, but he was marked. He came in behind and kind of battled to get the header, so he willed the team, I think, to the 2-goal and to kind of get back on top. And I think that is excellent for a player of his talent, but also he's quite young and didn't have the best year on his loan. He would have maybe expected to kind of play more and get more goals and that. So I think it's a great end of the season for him. Although there's another game or two to be played, I think that's definitely a great moment for him, and I think a 9's probably fair.
Yeah, then we'll move it on to Jason Knight. I'm going to give him an 8. He obviously got the goal, he got an assist, so I thought he was one of those players again when we were, I suppose throughout the game, he was battling throughout the whole game. He actually put in a really brilliant cross for James Collins, who actually was a shocking miss. So I think there was good moments by Knight, and had that goal went in, he'd be sitting here with 2 assists tonight and a goal. But he obviously got a goal, he got an assist, and I thought he put himself about, and just showed that bit of fight that we needed. Again, people will go, well, it's only Andorra and stuff like that, but this fella's one of our players that we'll be looking upon now for the next number of years to start coming in and really start being one of the bigger players in this Irish team. And I suppose getting that goal off his back now, he's got that monkey off his back, he's got his first goal for Ireland. That's a bit of pressure off him now, because I think fans will be looking, oh, he doesn't do this, he doesn't do that. He's got a goal and assist tonight. I think an 8 is a fair assessment. You might go higher or lower, I don't know, but I'm going an 8.
Yeah, I'm going to go higher. I'm going to go 8.5 purely because he, along with Parrott, were the two that, for probably a couple of the youngest lads in the team, were really looking to make things happen. Like he had that cross in for Collins that Collins should have scored from. A lot of the responsibility seemed to kind of fall on his and Parrott's shoulders, and they accepted it and came through in the end. Like he did a great finish for his goal. Obviously, the assist for Daryl Horgan, again, playing on the kind of a right wing, which isn't maybe his normal position. He kind of made it work for him, put in a couple of great crosses, and that's what we need to see. These are the lads of the future, and it's fantastic. I know it's Andorra, but you only play who's in front of you, and there were plenty of lads that didn't play that well or as well as them, so that there's levels to this, so I think an 8.5 for me for Jason.
You just mentioned there about players maybe not doing too well. We've got James Collins and Ronan Curtis left of the 2 players who did start. So
yeah,
I suppose starting with Ronan Curtis, if we're before we move on to the centre forward, what would you give him? Because he didn't really take his opportunity at all, in my opinion. I'm kind of looking and going, you had the chance to score that goal, and then there was just moments in the game where he was just really, really quiet. And I think, I know wasn't he on the pitch when we got the 2 goals back, but he had no real involvement with it. I think the ball passes his heel.
Known, yeah. Like I'm thinking along the lines I'm going to say a 5. I'm like 4.5, 5. I think anything lower than a 5 is probably a bit too harsh for like the way the game went.
5.5, I think.
Yeah, well, I'm going to go with a 5 because for a couple of reasons. The chance he missed was really like awful. You can't be missing them chances at this level. No, it's Andorra, but international football, you need to take your chances. And we know he's good enough to score them chances. He's a good player. And then as well as that, like you said, the game just seemed to pass him by, and he's probably had to wait a bit for a kind of chance and a start and, a run after me. He didn't play much in the last window. And he just didn't seem to, not that he didn't want it, but, there were lads that went out there and really kind of tried to grab the game whenever we needed to. And he just wasn't making the runs to help McLean out and give an option, or to pick the ball up and run at them to make something happen. And for that, I think a 5. I think I'm a bit disappointed.
Yeah. Look, it's hard to argue. I got to give him a 5.5 because obviously he was on the pitch with some of the goals scored, but that miss, the left-footed miss, like you'd be questioning yourself how he missed that.
Yeah.
But then James Collins, then I'm just going to settle on a 6 for him. He didn't have a great game, put himself about. At least, I know he didn't score the goals, but he put himself about and he won balls for us high up the pitch and helped us on attacks and that. But overall, a very, very quiet game for him. Probably, you could say he missed a sitter as well, but it wasn't as bad as Curtis's sitter. So I'm gonna settle on a 6, and I might be a bit kind in settling for a 6 for James Collins.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go 5.5. His chance was definitely tougher than Collins's, but it wasn't that much tougher than say Daryl Horgan's. It was a similar kind of one, and Horgan scored it, and ultimately, Collins worked hard and did win the ball back and did the dirty work, I suppose. But ultimately, if he's starting up front for us in this game, he has to score us goals, and he didn't. And part of that could also be a bit of a bleed over from feelings of the Luxembourg game when he missed a chance there, and you really need him to, if the chance is there for him to get in and actually be a starter in this team because of the effort he brings and the work rate. But we're going to need to see it in the back of the net, really.
Yeah, no, I think that's fair to say. I think people might be shouting at screens and how can you give him a 6 and how can you give Curtis blah blah blah. But look, we are sitting here talking about a win at the end of the day. I suppose the only real notable subs we can kind of touch on that we're giving a fair crack at the whip were obviously Daryl Horgan and Adam Ida. I'm going to give Ida a 6. He wasn't on that long, and you're just going to get 6 by default, don't you?
Yeah, I'd do the same. We didn't really notice him in the game, but that's But you could say that we'll get on to it. But his presence and maybe his running off the ball created the space for both Knight and Horgan got their balls, like their goals, like the 6-yard box. So did his movement create the space? I don't know. So I think a 6 is probably fair.
Yeah, and then lastly, obviously Daryl Horgan. I'm going to give him a 7. Actually, no.
Yeah.
No, I'm going to give him a 7.5. But he did make his impact when he came on. He got a goal and he got an assist. So I'm going to give him a 7.5. If he had played longer, I probably would have given him an 8. But he only got what he was given. So credit to him. He came on and made his difference. And full credit to him.
Yeah, I agree. I think, he must have been watching the sidelines. He came on and knew that if he played direct and ran at them, he'd cause problems. And he was fantastic. He moved the ball, kind of passed side to side, made runs down the wing, worked with McLean well, given options on the left, and he got his deserved goal. You could see how much it meant to him as well. That was kind of great to see. I always like to see lads delighted to score for Ireland. And this was a good ball in as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. And look, it gives Stephen something to think about in the next game as well. Does he play him ahead of Curtis and stuff like that? So there is things there. Also with Adam Ida, when he came on, maybe he was just shy of getting a goal. But I suppose it brings confidence to the other lads going into the games now, the younger lads that, look, they can come in, they can score goals. Again, we're not going to get carried away because it is Andorra. But that's the player ratings. Let us know your player ratings in the comments. Don't forget to like the video. Don't forget to subscribe. You can follow me at Paul Neelan 2508 on Twitter, at Paul Neelan 90 on Instagram, and Ethan is at EthanL55.
55, that's the one, yep. And I don't remember my Instagram, so good luck.
Yeah. So anyway, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe.